Good morning. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Tim's Cotswold Farm. I'm going to be bringing you weekly videos of what we're doing here on our farm in the Cotswolds. So this morning I've got to go move some sheep, and then I had an email from someone who's saying that some ash trees on our boundary from our copse are actually going across onto his property. So I need to go have a look at that. And the police are also coming to do some dog DNA testing. So quite a busy morning. Unfortunately, being an arable farm, winter's actually quite a quiet time for us. We're usually either fixing gates, mending bits of machinery, getting things ready for spring drilling, cutting down trees, dealing with anything that's been damaged by storms, moving sheep around, trimming feet, those sorts of things. Just small jobs. Just moving some sheep this morning. Just got to load these gates on the side of there. Obviously I'll make it a bit quicker for you. So this morning we're just going to go over to one of the other fields and just get our pet Southdown sheep back. And obviously loaded up, ready to roll. So we're in the field now. Dad's just gone down the bottom to turn the fencer off. He's going to let the slack out of the wire. Obviously I'll drop it this side and then drive on through. Usually we go down the bottom, but it made more sense because the track is so messy that we might as well just go in from the top. We'll pick up the fencer and the battery on the way through and obviously go back out in the bottom, so it's just one track going through the field. There he goes. So these are just our pet Southdowns. Someone's interested in buying them, so I'm just going to bring them back next to the house and they can go. They were really just lawnmowers. We planted this bit of grass just to stop all the water running down the road. Before that, we actually used to harvest this piece as well, but it's just so wet, it's not worth it. So I'm just going to drive over it and head down. The sheep are more used to being... Sorry, just making sure that the trailer goes over the wire and doesn't pick it up. The sheep are more used to being worked with in the bottom, so that's where we're going to head down to. So I've just put the trailer back. So we've got the sheep in where we want them to go. So they've just gone out the other side of the wood for now. Got some people coming to look at them on Mondays. Hopefully if they're interested, obviously they can be loaded straight onto their trailer and be gone. So these 4x4s here, then if we go out, they've also got their big sort of utility bus thing that they're doing DNA testing. Looks like it's been a bit of a slow morning, but obviously the more dogs that can get tested, the better. It means wherever your dog is in the country, they can take out a chip, but they certainly can't turn into the DNA. What I didn't know, Gloucestershire police were the first to actually come out with dog DNA testing, and they went to a laboratory and basically said, can you produce a test for us to test DNA? And so when a dog is found, that's the first thing they do. It's about 530 dogs that are on the program at the moment. People are just starting to come in here at the farm as well, so hopefully if we could get another 40-50 dogs by today, that'd be fantastic. Really great initiative, and actually started here in Gloucestershire. So I've just got my kit from the police. So these are £60. Now if you bought them at a vet's or anywhere else, they'd be £80. The police aren't allowed to make a profit on anything that they sell. Also, if you are in Gloucestershire and you see a rural police officer or one of the police 4x4s, they did say that they keep some of these kits in the back. So if you're interested, obviously approach them and ask them. So thought I'd just show you what's in the kit. So obviously what we're going to do, we need to go online, activate it, we need to take our sample and then obviously send it back. In terms of the kit itself, you have to make sure the dog hasn't eaten for an hour previous. So you've got our 3-post envelope. It's our swab stick. I think because of COVID, we're all pretty used to these things now. Yeah, tag. Get something to go in the car if we want, so that we've got a DNA check dog. Once we've swabbed, from what I understand, we end up... There is a very small strip in here. If I try and... Sorry, I'm struggling to do it one-handed. There's a small strip in there, and that's a contact strip. So you basically have to hold the swab against that and sort of clamp it shut so that there's a trace amount. It doesn't seem the greatest idea. Obviously, I'm not a scientist, but I would have thought it would have been easier if you just sent the swab back, to be honest. But there we are. So you have to then put that in this bag. You then have to seal this envelope, and then you have to put your tamper strip along the back of here. And, well, I assume they're going to send us something in the post to say the dog's registered, but I don't really know, if I'm honest. So when I know, I'll let you know. But that's your DNA Protect doggy kit. Doing the usual ritual, it turns out another sheep is stuck, this time in a slightly more awkward location. It's the beauty of looking after sheep. It's quite steep. Hey, it's all right. Obviously been here for slightly longer, so I'm glad we were able to find him. That just takes the mick, actually. Bloody thing. I've just walked all the way over there. I was feeding over there. I've come all the way down this bank and he's just mugged me off. I do honestly think that that sheep is just choosing every single bramble bush that we've got on this property to get stuck in. So this was this morning's. As soon as I approach, he runs off. Try and herd this one in. All the other sheep are tucking in, apart from this guy. Come on then, follow the track. You would break your neck down there. Round you go. Now, we've got a fertiliser lorry coming this morning, so I'm just going to go unlock the gates. I was hoping to send the drone up, but to be honest, it's just so windy. And that's really the main reason why I've just stepped behind the shed as well, because I'm conscious that you probably won't be able to hear me on the microphone otherwise. Safety. Put the pallets on now. So you've got these little safety plates, so I just need to whip them up with the spanner. Something Dad made just to stop these sliding off the end. So I was on a call, so I didn't actually catch the lorry arriving. As you can see, pulled out ready to just offload all that fertiliser. Basically, it's gold dust on there at the price of fertiliser at the moment. We nearly finished offloading. Big fuel lorries arrived as well, so there's a bit of a traffic jam here in Stankham at the moment, but we're nearly done anyway. I think he'll probably pull out the way to the wider spot, let the fuel wagon past, and then obviously we'll just unload this final bit. Done. I'll get him. Lorry driver was just saying when he went to actually pick up the fertiliser up in Liverpool, the plants just aren't working. So his mates went up to the factory last week to pick up some fertiliser, and there were 25 bags, and that was all there was for the entire output from the factory. So I've just come up to the bean field because I wanted to see how they were growing. We've had a very mild winter, so luckily for us, things are actually looking really good. The one concern that we do have is that the headland seems to have beans drilled at about 2 inches, whereas the rest of the field seems to have them about 4 inches. The concern is when it came to the pre-emergence herbicide, Dad's concerned that the herbicide actually would go down to where the bean is and actually kill it, because herbicide's effectively weed killer. Now we use Stomp and Stallion, but you can use Navara, you can use Stomp. But what they do say is the crop must be below 1.33 centimetres below the surface, otherwise it's at risk of being killed by the very chemical that you're applying. So the herbicide could have completely finished it, but we won't actually know until harvest. Yeah, that's really a waiting game, but otherwise very happy with them. And what I'll do now, I'll just show you a quick yield chart. So since 2017, you'll see how the yields fluctuate, but hopefully this is going to be another good year. They seem to have sort of 2 or 3 high years, and then we go to a low year. So the low year was 2020. Yeah, 2020 was the low year. So hopefully we're going for another high year again. Quick bean update. They seem to be growing quite well, although I think the slug damage has probably got slightly worse. Not always a good sign to be seeing crops like this, especially when you put it compared to this plant here. Very nice specimen. Look at the difference. Quiz question for today. What do you think has happened to this plant? I think where they turned in this corner, it's not as full. Probably the compaction's just killed it. It's quite wet here as well. But obviously from sort of that line it gets better, and likewise from about that line it gets better. So yeah, pretty happy with it so far. So I've just received an email from the Forestry Commission. So they've approved our felling application, which means all those trees out the back of the buildings can obviously come down, and then we can start to extend the farmyard. Now, one thing I do want to cover off, and I want to potentially discuss in another video, is the fact that we don't just aimlessly fell trees. And I'll go into some of the pitfalls and the challenges that we face actually working with the Forestry Commission. One, to just give you a quick example, just before we go, they effectively said to me they didn't want me to plant hundreds of trees on field boundaries, even though, I don't know if you can see out the window, but pretty much everything that we've got has trees on its field boundaries. No, they would rather I planted 9 trees in a square than have hundreds of trees. So that was interesting, and apparently the Cotswold AONB, which is some sort of society, I suppose, which governs these rules, went crazy that I was proposing to plant so many hundreds of trees to create wildlife corridors, which are actually going to run up these fields. So very interesting, but I do want to cover it because I certainly don't want people to say, oh, you're just mindlessly cutting down trees. These are probably the first 20 trees to be felled on this farm in the last 100 years. And really, it's because the branches are so dangerous. They're dropping, falling through the shed, breaking asbestos, and actually causing quite a bit of harm. So that's why they're coming down, but there's the added value that we're going to be able to open up the farmyard there. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Tim's Cotswold Farm. If you've enjoyed this video, please like it. Please tell other people to watch. I really, really do appreciate your support, especially as I'm just starting out on this channel. Any comments, obviously leave them below. But otherwise, see you next time. Bye.